Welcome to the video demo series for Configure.IT. Unleash the hassle-free way to build bug-free mobile apps in the quickest possible turnaround time. So in this video, I want to teach you how to add, edit, and delete records in your MySQL database. So we're going to start off with this table. It's called Atlanta Event, and if you watch some of the previous videos, you've seen us use this data. So what we're going to do is we're going to add and edit and delete some of this data three different ways. And the first thing we're going to do is come over here and click on Table Records. And you can see our existing data here. So we've got the event ID, the event name, the location, the date of the date of the event, and the description. Now, if we want to go ahead and add a new record, then we can come over here and just click on the plus sign, and we can enter our information in right here. If we want to edit, then we can just check a record and we can go in and edit our record. And if we want to delete the record, then we can come right here and delete the record. So this is a way you can edit your data in your MySQL database directly in the tables. Now, how do we do it in an API? Well, let's go ahead and take a look at that. So we'll come over here and we'll open up our API configuration. And let's go ahead and add some APIs. So the first one we'll click on is Add New, and we're going to name this Add Event. And the main operation is going to be Insert, because we're going to insert records into a table. And the category, we'll just leave it as Miscellaneous. And the parameters, we need to go ahead and set all of our parameters here. Now, if you go back and take a look at our parameters, the event ID will automatically be assigned. So we need event name, location, date, and description. So the first one will be event name, and we'll go ahead and click Add New. The next one will be location, Add New, date, and the last one will be description. All right, we'll click Next. And now we'll add a query block. And the query is going to be an insert. And we're going to insert into Atlanta Event. And we'll go ahead and click Next. Then we'll go ahead and select event name, location, date, and description. And we'll come over here and put our input parameters in. So event name, location, date, and description. We'll click Save. And now we can add a finish block. And we can go ahead and type in success. We'll click Save. Now we can go ahead and test this API. So we'll go ahead and post in the event name and our location and the date. We need to put it in the correct format. So it's going to be year, month, day. So we're going to do 2016, 12, 28, and we'll paste in the description. We'll hit execute. Okay, so we got our insert ID of number 7. Now if we come back to our table and click refresh, you can see right here, number 7, here is our event. Now, let's say we want to go ahead and update this event via an API. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at how we would do that. So we'll come back to API configuration. We'll click Add New. And this one is going to be Update Event. And our category is going to be Miscellaneous again. And then we need to put our input parameters. So again, we'll put in event name. And we'll put in the location. We'll add the date and the description. We need to add an additional field for the event ID. So we're going to type in event ID. And this is going to tell us which event we're actually going to be updating. Okay, so we'll add a query block. And the query type is going to be update. And the table we're updating is the Atlanta event. And we're going to leave the result parameter as the affected rows. Batch update is going to be no, because we're only updating one record at a time. Click Next. And we want to go ahead and select the fields that we want to be able to update. So event name, is going to be event name, location is location, date is date, and description is description. We'll click Save and Next because the next thing we need to do is tell it which event we want to be able to update. And we're going to do that by selecting this Atlanta Events ID equals our input parameter of event ID. We'll click Save, add a finish block, and we can just type in success again. We'll click Save. Now, when using the update query, it's important to remember that any fields that are left blank will be returned as blank fields. So they will overwrite your data even though there's nothing in there. So when you're connecting your API to your front end, make sure that you're passing values for each required parameter. In this case, let's go ahead and update number 6. So we'll go ahead and change it from garden lights holidays, nights to, we'll take out the nights and we'll just make it the garden, and we'll change it to Christmas Day and we'll change the description. So the event name, we're going to go ahead and change it to garden lights, and the location is going to be at the garden. The date is going to be Christmas Day, which will be 2016 12/25. And the description is who knows what this is. And the event ID is going to be 6. So we'll come back and we'll put 6. And we'll go ahead and debug. And there you go. So affected rows 1, and this is the data that we put in. Now we can go ahead and take a look at the table. And there's our updated data right there. Now, if we want to come in and delete a record, how do we go ahead and do that? Well, we'll come back to our API configuration, and we'll go ahead and add a new API. And this is going to be delete event. And we're just going to do miscellaneous. And the input parameter, we only need one. We need the event ID. And we'll go ahead and click next. And we're going to do a query. And the query type is going to be a delete. And we're going to choose the Atlanta event. And we'll leave it as affected rows. So we're going to pass a parameter telling it which row we want to delete. And so you see we get the where condition, and we're going to select where the Atlanta event ID equals our event ID, and we'll click save. And add our finish block. And then the message will be event has been deleted. Save. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the table, and we'll go ahead and delete number 7 here. So all we have to do is just provide our event ID. We'll click debug. And there you go. So we have one affected row, and you can see we where the event ID equals 7. So we'll go ahead and take a look at the data again. We'll click refresh, and you can see number 7's gone. Now, when using the delete query, it's imperative that you insert a value in this where clause. If you don't have a value here, then you will end up deleting your entire table. So that's how you can add, edit, and delete records from your MySQL database via API. Now let's go ahead and take a look at how you can do it via the admin panel. So the first thing we want to do is go ahead and click on our home to make sure that we have the admin panel configured. You may have to activate your data panel if this is your first time. So to configure our admin panel, we want to come over to our module management. And this is where we can add additional modules to our admin panel. So we'll click add new. And our module heading will be, we'll call it events. And if we want to make it multilingual, we can go ahead and check that right here. And then where do we want it displayed? So we'll go ahead and display it on our home and with the name events. We need to go ahead and select our table, and we're going to choose the Atlanta event table. And if we have any relationships to any additional tables, we can add those right here. But in this case, we're going to go ahead and click next. Okay, so this page is where we configure the listing of our event. The listing page is where all of our events will be displayed in a table. So we can see here the event name, the location, the date, and the description. And we're just going to go ahead and leave this alone for now, and we can come back and edit this later. So we'll click Update Next. And now here's where we can configure our form. And our form is where we will actually be entering data. So if we come over here, we can configure each field. So this first one, event name, is a text box, and we can go ahead and leave that as a text box, but we can make it required, and we can change the size, background color. Then once we have that configured, we can click Save and Next. Our location, we can leave it as a text box, and we can make it required, and we'll go ahead and change the size to full width. We'll scroll down and click Save and Next. Now the date, again, is a type, so it automatically sees that. So it selects our date type, and we'll make that required as well. We can come down here and choose our custom display format, and in this case, it's year, month, and day, and that's fine. We can set the minimum date and the maximum date, any text placeholder, so we'll choose select date, and we'll come down here and choose Save and Next. Our description, it can see that it was a text field from our database, so it's given us a text area, and we can go ahead and select that it's required as well. And the size, we're going to make it full width as well. Now we can also set a limit on input from no limit to words or characters, and we can also set a max count. How do we want to handle the case? And if we want any placeholder, so we can put please add description, and we'll come down and we'll click Save. Once we've configured all of our fields, we can go ahead and click on Update. And once it's been updated, we can come over here to our Login to Admin panel, and we'll go ahead and open that up. Now the default username is admin, and the password is 3214789. That is the default. You are more than welcome to change it and add additional users as you need. So now that we have our admin panel up, why don't we go ahead and take a look at our events, and we'll just click on Events. As you can see, it brings up our events, and we can see it has the event name, location, the date, and the description. Now we can click on any one of these. Here you can see our form. We can edit this form, and so if we want to say take out the square and that this text is just a little bit too much, we can go ahead and delete that, and we can come down here and hit update. Now if we hit update, right now it will stay on the current page, but if we want to return to the list, we'll hit update and check that list, and now we return back to the list. And if we want to delete an event, this garden lights, we can either check it here and hit delete, or we can go into the actual event and we can delete right here. Now if we want to add a new event, we'll come up here and click on Add New, and we can go ahead and add our events right here. We'll just go ahead and paste this in. There's the next event. I see a story, The Art of Eric Carle, and we're going to go ahead and paste in the location. And it's going to be at the High Museum of Art, and we'll select the date, and we'll say it's going to be the 29th, and then we'll just add in the description. And we can click Save. Now if we want to go ahead and add another event, we can click Next, which we'll go ahead and do. We'll click Save, and it opens up a new page for us to go ahead and add another event. So we'll go ahead and add this one, and this date is going to be the 31st, and we'll go ahead and copy and paste the description. All right, now we want to return to the list, so we'll click List, and then we'll click Save. And that's how you can add, edit, and delete records from a MySQL database by either doing it directly in the table, via an API or the admin panel. Want to learn more? Visit our Help Center for additional tutorials, our Support Center, and our online community, where our support team will assist you. Keep configuring.